Welcome to a spooktacular new episode of the Demonic Compendium, the show where I discuss the mythology, design, and game history of your favorite Megami Tensei demons. Now, with this being the month of Halloween, I wanted to pick out a delightfully creepy demon to sink my teeth into this time. So preheat the oven to 350 degrees because today, we're talking about Ghoul. Preheat the oven to... what does that even mean? Ghouls are a type of undead monster from Arabic lore, not really zombies or ghosts, but somewhere in the middle. They are former humans that feast on the flesh of both the living and the dead. The earliest mention of ghouls seem to originate from the 1001 Nights series of stories. Interestingly enough, in the original Arabic text, they apparently were not described as the cannibalistic grave robbers we associate them to be, and that version actually stems from a French translation of one of the tales. The name Ghoul comes from the Arabic word Gala, which means to seize, and that supposedly stems from the Mesopotamian Galu demons, which I'm very surprised to say do not seem to be in Megami Tensei at all. Ghouls have been featured prominently in all realms of horror fiction throughout the centuries, including being mentioned by Edgar Allan Poe in his poem The Bells, where he says, "They are neither brute nor human, they are ghouls." And I'm sorry to correct you, Edgar, but as you can see, ghouls were categorized as members of the brute race in Digital Devil Saga 2, so... yeah, I think you owe someone an apology. Ghoul's Compendium entry from Shin Megami Tensei 1 states that they are man-eating demons that appear in graveyards. They crave human flesh and attack live humans, stealing bodies from their graves. The female form is a Ghoule. Ghouls are believed to be a type of jinn. Invoking the name of Allah will drive them away. Exploring on that a bit, there is a female version of ghouls referred to as ghoulettes that appear in Shin Megami Tensei 2, Shin Megami Tensei If, and Giten Megami Tensei. They're weird. Moving on. Another note about ghouls in folklore is apparently if you strike them once, they'll die, but if you hit them twice, you'll revive them. I wonder if... nope. Well, we tried. As far as design goes, there's not too much to say about them. Kaneko made them roughly humanoid, but having just the right amount of them being withered and decayed enough to convey their undead status. For me personally, the best thing about the ghouls is getting to see them in motion, as the animations used in their models do a much better job of expressing their deformities and creepier nature. Ghoul's original design in Megami Tensei was just a palette swap of some other undead demons, and since the very first Shin Megami Tensei title in 1992, the design has pretty much stayed the same. The only major variation was Ghoul's appearance in the very first set of Devil Children games, where Ghoul is... I don't know about you all, but I genuinely find this much creepier and more unsettling than his usual design. On to game history. Ghouls have not been featured in many major roles, but the whole point of the show is to highlight what we do have. As mentioned before, Ghoul appears early on in Shin Megami Tensei 1, and acts as sort of a mini-boss, being in the final wave of enemies fought when rescuing the game's main heroine. Probably the most iconic appearance of Ghoul that may have left an impression on players is that a pair of the shambling undead are the very first battle the player gets thrust into the first Digital Devil Saga game. In the second game, another pair of ghouls will be encountered in an early game dungeon, with one of them boasting he has a power ring that puts the odds in his favor. However, if players transfer data from a Digital Devil Saga 1 file where they've defeated King Frost, the ghoul will have a Hee-Ho ring, making it immune to ice that Surf and friends can collect for themselves upon victory. Ghoul is not even remotely noteworthy for being in the small handful of personas that was absent from the original release of Persona 3, but included in both FES and Portable. Speaking of Persona, Ghoul's Compendium entry in 3 and 4 reads that they're a cannibalistic demon from Islamic lore. It feeds on the flesh of both the living and the dead, it is indistinguishable from normal humans, and prefers to prey on children and travelers. And I take some issue with this part. Indistinguishable from normal humans. Really? Do they really think that... okay, here, let's try an experiment. Here's some normal people, and here's a ghoul slipped in. Do you guys see it? You see the ghoul? This guy? No? Well, how about her? No. I mean, obviously, it's right here. That's it. That's the ghoul. Ghoul's role in the series essentially boils down to low-level undead monsters that usually don't provide too much challenge, and a demon I'm happy to discuss this Halloween season. And so there you have it, Ghoul, the cannibalistic shambling spirit of the Arabian Sands. Did I leave out something you thought was important? Was I just plain wrong about something? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to let me know who you'd like to see me talk about in future episodes. That's gonna do it for this episode of the Demonic Compendium, and I'll see you next time. But be careful while you rest that a demon doesn't take over your body.